or is that a bad welcoming? I don't know.
Oh
I
no,
think it's a
it
fair
was
answer, Ian.
welcoming
I
because
think
you
it's a
just kind
fair
of like
answer.
surprised us. You just kind of sidled up and you're like, hi,
Hello
and
there,
we're
Mark. Hello, Mr.
Hi.
Tom. Hello, David.
Hello, Gary.
Everybody in the
uh,
Hi,
chat.
Gary.
Hello, hello.
but I do
Hello,
think
John.
that
Go outside.
it just seems like that there hasn't been like he doesn't.
He hasn't got competition, or at least Darlow's
Yeah.
not been given a run of games.
Oh God,
Darlow
I
will
thought
be playing tomorrow, and I think it's a great shame that we're not playing against a side who could give us a proper game and therefore test
To be
Darlow.
fair, David, in the cup,
You know,
lower league opposition in the FA
anything could
Cup is
happen.
like
I
playing
know.
Barcelona for Leeds.
Yeah.
It'd be like
No, I
playing
know
classic
that.
Barcelona because they're going to turn up. They're going, you know, I'm not going to do what I usually say, like when teams like treat us like their cup final. No, this team should actually treat us like give it their all and things like this. I totally
Oh
get
yeah.
that. It annoys me. And I know it's totally irrational. I've said it to Gary before. I don't know if I've said it to you or Mark. It annoys me how Blackburn turned up to Ellen Road and got a 1-1 win, but then lose 1-0 at home to Burnley when Burnley get 2 shots on goal. I'm like, why are you not trying as hard against Burnley as you are against Leeds?
right.
What is it about John Eustace that turns him into fucking Sir Alex Ferguson against Leeds United? Go
Yeah.
fuck yourself, John Eustace.
Well,
But
sadly,
Burnley
I
actually quite
haven't
cool.
I haven't been able to watch a lot of Leeds this season. So, but Gary, if you haven't been following along, I have been putting the question to the Leeds boys about one a certain goalkeeper Melier and his horrendous showing on Saturday, and whether or not
career
he
level
would
performance.
have any sort of like career renaissance with another team,
Oof.
A team that plays a goal.
I don't know.
i.e. Aaron
You su-
Ramsdale.
You summed it up there. I think.
I
Gary.
don't know about
Oof.
the. Oof. Yeah. No, you know what? What? And he's had some. He's got a YouTube reel that is not good. All right. Like there's one thing when you're
Mm.
like Ramsdale
I'm sure I have a
took on
YouTube
like an
reel
average
that
of
is
like
not
30,
very
40
good.
shots a game, but he's doing this kind of all by himself. You know what I mean? Like yes, the goalkeeper's by himself a lot, but I mean fluky goals to miss out on a win, in games and just
I think they worked
yeah,
out that if he hadn't made the number of blunders he had this year,
yeah.
we'd either be 6 or 8 points better off.
Yeah, I mean, was it the
Something like that.
Sunderland game, right? The
Which
Sunderland game
means
was 2 points right there.
the Sunderland one I can forgive him
Okay.
because it took a freak bounce. I can forgive him that one. But there's so many other incidents. And we should be another 6 to 8 points better off. So we should have a nice gap, But
Yeah, but it is weird that
he's going to make it difficult for us.
Yeah, it's also weird that Leeds hasn't tried to bring somebody in to at least
He
for
brought Carl
competition.
Darlow.
No competition
Darlow
reasons
last
where they
year.
actually get a
Darlow.
legitimate chance though.
I believe Darlow was. Sorry to interrupt you, Gary. I believe Darlow was brought into the team because I think Leeds United, the business, the management, believed that Melier was going to leave. So Darlow was brought in as if like you're going to be the number one goalkeeper of our team in the Championship. But then no one came in for him because shock horror, there tends not to be a market for goalkeepers, no matter how young and promising. You will not find a market for a goalkeeper that's conceded like 100 goals in 2 seasons. People tend not to want someone that lets in goals.
Yeah, but I mean that right there should be the reason why you give somebody else a chance, or you at least make it a competition internally, not externally, but internally. Guys, one of you will win this spot, and we'll figure that out.
The whole Leeds pretty much the whole Leeds fan base is saying that. Give Darlow a go. Darlow has played a couple of games for Wales, and he's done
more
all right
games for Wales than Leeds.
Yeah, and he actually won man of the match in one of them. So he can't be that bad a keeper. But listen, this is where I've not criticised Fart this year, but Fart does what Fart does, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
One
I mean, because
more thing to say.
go ahead.
No, go on, Gary. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say you kind of have. He's kind of like depending on the fact that your offense will be there every week, and it's like no,
And sometimes they're not.
Yes, and you need somebody behind in between the sticks, right? Basically, who will stand on their head and make sure nothing goes in, no matter how easy it should be for them, right? And once in a while, he needs to make that save where you go, that was a point saver there for us. That was 2 points saved or whatever. I don't think he do that much. Have you ever how many games have you watched this season where you went, that was the save that might get us going?
As Tom said earlier, he's done a couple of saves early on whereby we might have gone a goal behind.
Yeah.
So it sort of kept us in the game at being 0-0, but he's not done a save. Well, you go back to last season when he actually made a save where you go, that save, that won us the game. But he's not facing a lot of shots. This is the thing. He doesn't face a lot of shots, but he lets a lot in.
Like for example, to be fair, like Ian's comment, Pincussion's comment here focused on one player, but because this one player is very obviously become a problem to a team that is so far ahead of the competition in terms of one-on-one areas on the pitch, and people are quickly taking advantage of the obvious thing that this goalkeeper's a bit ropey. Even for he's ropey in the Premier League, he's ropey as fuck in the Championship for some reason, and he is. Because things have happened that have proved that. And some people will go, oh, you're being hard on him. It's like, well, there's only so many things I could say about Manor Solomon for falling over 3 months ago compared to a player that fucked up last week.
And also, it's one of those things where you have to be concerned about going on that run that you don't want to go on, all right? Because when you go on that run, and it seems to always happen, right? Every team goes through it. We saw it, last year. Even though they won the league, they still struggle for a bit. And but when that happens, it's going to be even worse because that means the defense in front of them will be just falling over themselves. The offense can't click, and then your goalkeeper is doing if he's consistent, then then the game's over pretty much, right? As long as they put shots into the box, kind of thing. So that's the concern, right? It's like,
and I think also that as far as like what Pincushion had to say, it's not fair to lay it all on the feet of one player, but in this particular case, this is the player that we are singling out and want to talk about. I'm sure there are other issues amongst leads, and if I saw enough of leads, I might be able to point out more. But unfortunately, everything that I get to see is very secondhanded and through the chats because I don't get to see a lot of leads anymore. And so that's why we're focusing the spotlight on one particular player, and it's only because of his egregious error last week.
Ian,
but can I
all week? So just very quickly, David. Every week I come on and I do my lead show with Ben, and Ben is anti. I think it's not unfair to say Ben is anti-Meslier, and I defend Meslier most weeks, especially when he has done things good. But what am I meant to say when he catched the ball he didn't need to catch? He failed to catch it because he hit the crossbar, and then he fucking punches it to the whole player on the line. Like, what am I meant to say to that?
You know what? Every good team, good goalkeeper, good centre half, a solid, good midfielder, and somebody generally who can score a goal. That's what makes a winning side. A defence won't have any trust or confidence in the keeper, and that defence now has got no confidence in the keeper. I mean, that showed
they shouldn't.
That showed their frustration on that second goal. If you go back to the Sunderland game, and as I say, I don't blame him for what I thought was a freak goal.
Yeah.
But Firpo stormed off the pitch, and some of the fan base were saying, "Well, that's not right. He shouldn't have done that." Well, yes, he should have done because that's the standards that you should be setting yourself. Absolutely. And I'm not surprised. Okay, they've come out with the big PR thing now that they're all in it together, blah, blah, blah. Trust me, in that changing room, there'll be the defenders. Some of those defenders will not be liking him behind in goal. It's as simple as that.
When you
Once
do
you
the
lose
video,
confidence, you've
yeah.
lost confidence in your
Yeah.
keeper.
Firpo, in the blink of an eye, Firpo went from "I've got the winning goal." I'm literally about to get the winning goal in this game because that whistle's going to go to, "Oh shit, I've scored an own goal because the ball bounced around the goalkeeper." And
I think you mentioned
it
it on your show, Tom. You mentioned it on your show. We should have been talking about Tanaka's goal. That's what we should have been talking about that game,
Right.
not about some numbnuts
That
who
goal was incredible.
has tried to catch the ball. You know, when all he had to do, if he wasn't sure what the goalkeepers are meant to do, is just literally put it over the bar. It's not like his hands were 6 inches above the bar.
It looked like a
crazy.
volleyball set when it came off because it was like perfectly set up for somebody to smash it, and that's exactly what happened. Now it stands out. I mean, he stands out because the team as a whole. I say this every week whenever I look. They're better than most teams they play. Those teams have to be playing their best football against them to keep it close. Because once you guys turn it on, it's over usually, right? It's like bang, 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 and then then you just go into the showers kind of thing. So yeah, no, that's why I think that's why you bring up his name because everybody's had their blips, right, in terms of defensively or offensively missing sitters and stuff like that. But the consistent thing has always been, like you said, the man between those posts.
Ian, I get so much shit when things go wrong for Leeds because I'm the one that comes out on YouTube and defends them 99% of the time. And I have to then get comments from David either after the show, if he watches it backwards or that, or even on WhatsApp, and basically basically getting an explanation from me, like I'm the Leeds United representative. To which all I could say last week was like, yeah, David, that's right. What you've just said, I have no comeback for it. That's it.
Yeah.
He should be coached to catch the ball.
Well, as
enough.
a bunch of people have stated that the goalkeeper position is an extremely difficult one because you can be great or not do anything and still be good, and then the one mistake you make can be so costly. That alone makes it tough for a keeper. But I think David had a very, very strong point. When your back line starts to distrust you, then more shit starts to happen. And so that's where I think you need to look at. That's where Fark needs to go. Okay, I don't want to bench Melier, but I can tell there's something wrong with the relationships here, and he needs to be a relationships manager as well. And maybe it is time to go, okay, you know what? Let's try something else.
Can I say one more thing about goalkeeper? And I promise you, it's absolute nonsense. It's genuine nonsense.
He's going to say it anyway.
But we're of course. But we're all intelligent gentlemen. And Gary, no, I have a lot of love for Gary. We're all intelligent gentlemen. We're all intelligent gentlemen. No. If you see what Gary does for it, he's an intelligent man. It's fine. But in all seriousness, does Melier have photos of Daniel Fark with a horse?
Maybe. Because
that's the only other realistic explanation as to why he'll be playing against Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, maybe.
Has he caught him doing something he shouldn't have been doing?
Well, there's a large contingency of the Arsenal fan base that believes Mikel Arteta has some dodgy photos of the Cronkies. So, yeah. So, quite possible. But guys, we are at the halfway stage right now, and as you saw on the comments section in our YouTube stream, we've had a poll up for you all to be able to choose which halftime video you want to see. And I think it's only right that if it's not Leeds United, fuck 'em, is the one that won, because we've been talking about Leeds for the past 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
So you're going to play Murder Gun, right?
So no, I'm gonna give the fans what they want, and then when we come
I
back,
want
we will
Murder
do
Gun,
betting
really.
in the dark with Mr. Tom, and we will not talk any more Leeds United. So that being said, it is halftime. We'll be back in about 3 or 4 minutes. So smoke them if you got them. Go to the turlet. We'll be right back.
I got an invisible.
Here's a question: when you guys were in the desert that was the championship for 16 years, did you watch any Premier League games?
No. I didn't watch any of them. Fuck them. I didn't watch a single minute of a Premiership match. Swear to God. I didn't give a shit.
I
must admit, I used
or
to.
anything like that.
No, I still don't watch. I don't watch anything but Leeds, mate. Nothing but Leeds. That's it. And that's all I care about.
I must
I
admit,
don't
I'm with
give
James
a
this season. This season,
about
I've
any
struggled
other
to
club.
watch other games.
Bielsa watches everybody. You should too.
No, and what I really hate is like people like talk, oh, that was a great match, man. That was a great match. And it wasn't even involving your club. I mean, no one cares. No, I don't care about that, man. No one care. I don't care about anything that doesn't involve Leeds.
All right. So in the last 15 years,
I fucking love you,
I
James.
love Leeds. I love
how many
Leeds.
times have you watched?
I love Leeds. Full stop.
So the
Full
last
stop, mate. I
So
love
you-
Leeds. I
you
don't
just
give a
disowned
fuck
Lionel
about
Messi
anybody
for
else.
15 years. Like, is that what you're saying? Like, you
What?
didn't? Did you watch Lionel Messi or Ronaldo or anyone?
No.
Oh, nobody watches
No, don't care. I don't care. I only care about Leeds.
That's fucking insane.
I don't know. I don't even know who those people are. Who are they?
How do you know
Oh,
how?
Lionel Richie and someone, I can't remember. What did you say?
James.
I'm in a bubble, mate. I'm in a bubble. It's called the Leeds bubble. I'm there. I'm here to stay. I signed up for this 40 years ago, and I'm not leaving. It's the 40 years.
I wanted to ask you, James.
It's Leeds bubble. I don't watch. I don't give a fuck about any other team
No,
in the Premiership. I really don't.
Well, in
I
that
don't give
case,
a
in that
flying fuck.
case,
you on the
today's
train.
one.
I hate
Today's
them
one
all.
for
I hate them
Boris
all.
because we scored
There's
it.
varying degrees of hatred.
Right. But
This is
seriously,
going to make me hate you.
See, James, that's the thing is you think that like bothers James at all? James expects he expects that you hate Leeds. He comes.
I want you to hate Leeds.
Exactly.
I want you to hate us. You know,
Same.
after
I
this
don't
season,
want you
we
to
should
like
hate
us,
the fact
any
that
of
the
you.
Wolves beat you.
No. Look, I love your hatred, man. I feed off of it. I feed off your hatred like any Leeds fan does. We don't give a fuck. You hate us and we don't give a fuck.
Whoa. Hey, David Moyes. What are you doing on screen? Get him out of there. There we go. Hello, fellas. All right. Little throwback to back in the day. Yeah. All right, Mr. Tom, are you about ready to give us some crazy betting advice?
Well, I'll give you some advice. The level of crazy is dependent on the viewer, of course,
All
in their
right.
opinion.
Well, let's
So,
get
yes,
to it and
yes, absolutely
let's
mental.
get to betting in the dark with Mr. Tom.
Betting in the dark with Mr. Tom.
Come on, love, place your bets.
All right, as you all know, this is Betting in the Dark with Mr. Tom, where we ask Mr. Tom to give us some crazy picks that will turn $1 or £1 into hundreds of pounds, which means they are not good bets, so do not place them. But if you do, keep it down to $1 or so, and when the fun stops, stop and blame Tom. All right, so Mr. Tom, you got Finger the Duck there. What you got for us?
Cyril, everyone's main man, Cyril. Cyril wants to say hello to Gary, of course, because of course he does.
Cello.
Right below. Brought to you by Murder
sponsored
Gun.
by Murder Gun. In a world.
In a world.
It's Oscar nominated. It says so right there.
Officially.
For your consideration.
I wouldn't take the Oscar, but I think Murder Gun is up for a Golden Glove.
Oh gosh. All right. Reading versus Burnley. What are we doing? FA Cup? Oh
FA
yeah.
Cup,
I guess all we have is
Yeah.
FA Cup.
That's it.
I mean, what else am I going to pick from? If you want to see all your big clubs, all your Premier League matches, go fuck yourselves. It's FA Cup time, baby.
All right.
We're going to see the teams we never see on this segment because they're not good enough to be on this segment, apart from the first weekend in January /2, because obviously they've done it a bit later than they usually would, for some reason. So yeah, I've gone with Reading to come from behind to beat Burnley with Ashley Barnes. Well done, John. On for the record, John correctly selected the correct players. They're definitely the players that they're intended on being. And Ashley Barnes has re-signed for Burnley, fresh from being almost humiliated into retirement by Leeds United in the playoff semi-final last year. That was a great night. It was a great night. Shame it didn't lead to anything. Anyway, so Ashley Barnes can go fuck himself after he scores the first goal in this game, and then Sam Smith, not that one, is going to score at some point in retaliation for Reading. And Reading used to be in the Premier League. Not anymore. Not even in the Championship. Are they in League 2? League 2 or League 1? I mean, it's probably my job to know this, but obviously I clearly don't know this, but still. I know that they've barely got a pot to piss in, so they probably need to win this to get their money. But yeah, so Reading's going to win this one.
While I've
I'm sorry. Go on, Mark.
I very quickly, while I've never really rated Ashley Barnes a whole hell of a lot, have we seen him lately at Burnley?
No,
they signed him. He's a flat fucker.
Hold on a second. We cannot just glare over the fact that Mark even knows who the fuck Ashley Barnes is.
Well, yeah. He's a notorious whiner at Burnley. He used to play for Burnley.
That's just amazing. I'm just like, give Mark his flowers. He knows who Ashley Barnes is. He knows that Ashley Barnes gained weight. That's fucking insane.
He's a fat fucker.
Did he go to Stoke or somewhere like that?
The days of you not even knowing Romelu Lukaku are over.
No, that's pronounced.
He played for Norwich against Leeds in the semi-final.
Of course he did. Of course he did. Yeah. He was shit, wasn't he?
Because that whole time you were talking, Mark, talking about Ashley Barnes, I was ready to say, you mean Harvey Barnes. And I was like, no, he actually knows. He actually knows who he's talking about.
Ashley Barnes, he's like in the twilight of his career. Oh, just hanging on. A little bit of
vampires.
He is a fucker. But it's got all the hallmarks of all the games I've picked from this weekend all follow a similar scheme. So basically, I'm hoping at least one of them pans out. Because if one of them pans out, it's profit for everyone. But at the same time, it's going to be the best team scores, the higher ranked team scores first, and then we get a cup upset. That's the way to maximise the money on this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that and doing 1-0, but that doesn't really pay the big bucks, let's just say. Mark Dice Clay ain't fucking dining out on a 1-0 victory for Reading. I can tell you that for free. But Mark Dice Clay likes his money.
Hickory duck.
I do love my money. I worked all day.
All right, moving on.
What's in the bowl, bitch?
Little Miss Muffet.
I've gone for my local Leyton Orient to defeat Derby County in the third round of the FA Cup, and I'm going to use the theory of Derby County need to go fuck themselves. And I was never, even if Derby County were playing Manchester United, I would have picked Manchester United because fuck Derby County. No, it's not true. It's not true. I would have actually gone into their way to find out if both teams could lose, but apparently that's not in the rules. But in all seriousness, Derby County are going to score first. That is Jerry Yates. I had to double check myself, despite the fact that he played against Leeds twice in last month. Did fuck all, by the way. But he'll score first. Then Sonny Perkins of Leeds United, he'll either not play, or he will score. And money's probably get more money if basically it ends up 2-1 and Sonny Perkins doesn't play.
Orient are in the Div 1. Yeah,
they are in League One. Yeah,
how are they doing?
For example, they won every game in December without conceding a goal.
Yeah, I thought they're doing all right, aren't they?
They
there's
were
a good
near
chance
the
of an upset, if you like.
Yeah. Under the theory of a team in form in the lower division will always tend to get a result against a team that's not doing well in the division above.
Yeah. That's not a bad bet, that one. Don't know so much about the players. I'll bow to your greater knowledge there, but certainly the result.
Knowledge. Sonny Perkins is the only one that I know who plays for Leyton Orient, and under that theory that because we loaned him to them.
Right. I was going to say he's former Leeds, right?
Yeah. He'll never play for Leeds.
Not again. No.
We sold him a proper bill of goods.
Yeah.
You could stay with West Ham and win your Europa Conference League medal or whatever, but no, instead come to us and play in Premier League 2 or whatever they call it.
Yeah. Don't go to the next one, John. Gary, we're on to our third bet from Mr. Tom. So do you want to put a side bet that the last one is going to be Manchester United beating Arsenal? I mean, you know, it's got to be. It's the third one. He hasn't mentioned it. I'm just wondering if Mr. Tom has the ability to pick Manchester United to do anything.
You know what? That's like asking him, will he breathe in a second? Yeah.
I think you two are very cynical.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. You know what?
He just wants to see me like crunch, go. Yeah. That's what you want to see.
No, I took a week off, right? I took a week off of picking the Arsenal game, partly because in the FA Cup third round, it's about the smaller teams, not the nonsense top 6 clubs that don't even care about it, but then we'll end up battling out to win it when their reserves get far enough and they can throw them out of the lineup.
So we're not going to see Manchester United match then, yeah?
You've got more chance of seeing me shitting my hands and clapping.
That's a different channel that Tom is. We don't have the graphics for it.
I do think that is on the stoop after dark.
I hit the button. Yeah. I hit that button that said I can see it. So I don't know.
Tom, honestly, if that was one of our channels, it would probably have way more subscribers. The channel is Mr. Tom crapping in his hands and clapping. That's it. Every video. You would probably have an OnlyFans account.
That's gonna be our bio break.
No, that'll be.
It won't be in the crapper. It'll be Mr. Tom and
there's always a poll because you need to know kind of what did he have that night.
And we'll say for Patreon subscribers, you get to
watch. It won't
Tom
be pizza.
Not shit in his hands. The only way to see Tom not shit in his hands is to be a subscriber, Patreon subscriber.
Can we keep this classy?
We started the show.
John, this is as classy as it gets.
I might consider purchasing a bidet.
Oh no! Nobody wants to see that.
I think John being top of the table now, so he's suddenly believing that this program's something that it isn't,
He's like, listen, guys, I'm in the top 1% in the world. Come on, people are watching me. People are watching this show for advice, and you're picking fucking Leyton Orient over here. Come on.
He picks Mo Salah for his fantasy Premier League team, and all of a sudden he thinks he's basically sitting there going, I don't want to talk about shit and all this. On Saturday night or Saturday morning, Friday night.
His fantasy league is absolutely illegal. There is no way that he should have all those superior players.
That's incredible. That take.
I think he's on. I think he's on steroids, and he's found some sort of hack.
Yep. Yeah.
And he's not sharing it.
Yeah.
Because there's just no way. Maybe there's a way. Of course there's a way.
No, it just shows you like the more you know about football, the shittier you are at fantasy. All right, next one. Let's see it if it's not Arsenal.
The final one is
Arsenal.
Bristol Rovers to win 2-1 at Ipswich in another come from behind victory. Basically, Liam Delap's going to score first because who the fuck else scores for Ipswich?
Yep.
And Chris Martin, not that one, scores for Bristol Rovers in a 2-1 win. And you
I
may
actually
be thinking,
want it to be
why have you
that
picked
Chris
this?
Martin.
I mean, it'd be fascinating if it was. But in all seriousness, I've not picked Ipswich to win this one because I'm highly confident they're going to run the table in the remaining games and win every single one in the league. So I thought I'd take a break from that and basically not pick them to win.
They're saving themselves.
It would certainly be bucking a trend, wouldn't it, if Rovers were to beat Ipswich, because apparently they've only won one in their last 8 competitive games together, which probably go back to about 1947 or something like that, if the truth be known. But there you go.
That makes total sense because that actually reminds me of the episode of The Simpsons where Krusty the Clown gambled against the Harlem Globetrotters under the theory that the Washington Generals were due, as he called it.
Yep, they're due.
They did win once.
I mean, no.
I'm
this
telling
is
you.
a lovely bet. And I actually would love it if, like, Chris Martin from Coldplay just, like, jumped over the barrier and, like, threw on a jersey and scored. That would just be far more interesting than anything that this game could bring me.
Listen,
Ipswich
Mark, I'm sure
is going to win. Ipswich is winning 4-0 on this. I just Bristol Rovers. I listen. Is that
Mark,
is that a stop on my bus line? I don't know.
No. Listen, Mark, I'm sure if you called FanDuel in the morning, if you call them up and you're like, listen, I'm trying to place this bet and I don't know how. And they're like, well, we'll take your bet over the phone because they're old school bookies as well. You're like, listen, I want Bristol Rovers to win 2-1 and I want Liam Delap to score first. And they're like, okay, this sounds fine. I don't know why you can't do it on the app. And you say, well, I want Chris Martin to score. And they're like, well, okay, that's on there too. And you say, no, I want Chris Martin from Coldplay to score. What odds will you give me on that? And they'll be like, a fucking 1,000,000,000 to 1. Give me your money.
They're like, we can't take
Like
that bet.
you pick an
They
amount.
really
Mark.
would be like, because like on FanDuel when you like place a bet, or maybe it's on MGM Bet, but you place a bet that's just so big that they're just like, no, we're not taking that.
Yeah, I've done that where like I've only been allowed to place a
$1 billion
1 cent.
and no.
Yeah, you can place a 1 cent bet on some of these and not anymore because the payout is like $500,000. And they're like, as much as we want your money, if this happened to hit, we can't pay you. Yeah. Well, I think it would be a good phone call. If you do call them,
if this happens, this is a nice car payment winning.
I think
that's the level. That's the level that this comes.
This isn't
happening.
happening.
I think if anything, this bet, and I want to say thank you, Mr. Tom, for putting this together because now I know who Bristol Rovers are.
No, you don't know who Bristol Rovers
are.
I
was going to ask
Bristol.
I said Bristol.
You put an N on the end, buddy.
Did he say
oh
Bristol?
my God,
put an N on the end.
Mr. Erdegard, you just sit back over
you
there.
You put an N on the end. I can say whatever I want, but you definitely said that wrong.
Well, and I can't?
And when you're saying I don't know who the Bristol Rovers are, nobody knows who the fucking Bristol Rovers are.
Let's be fair.
Take it
Bristol
over,
Rovers
take it over,
or
Mr.
Bristol
Tom.
Rovers probably ain't winning tomorrow. But
you know what?
if they
Tomorrow
do,
morning, you call up FanDuel and you go, "I want the Bristol Rovers."
I am
and
changing
Chris Martin
my
from
pool league
Coldplay
name to the Bristol Rovers, and we're gonna win it all.
and history will happen with the
Call 'em up.
Bristol Rovers. Rovers.
Hey, FanDuel, how much do I get on Bristol Rovers beating Ipswich and Chris Martin from Coldplay to score the goal? They're like, whatever you want.
Hey, you
I
more
think
money.
I think what
the
you'll
other side bet.
I think what
Oh, go
you'll
on,
find,
David.
Mark is actually quite right. Is that there probably is a Bristol Rovers, and it will be the works team for the works team for Bristol company, which are makers of toilets and crappers and things like that.
Right up your alley, Mark. You should start supporting the
Well
Bristol
done.
Rovers.
The Bristol Rovers for sure. They must have a works
I
team. I'll look
will
into it
start
for you.
doing. I will revise in the crapper.
What?
There we go. Look, we found it.
Thank you. But I want
Not the
I
same
want
one,
a
but
different
that'll do.
logo. I want a different logo in the
I heard their
crapper,
director of
sponsored
football
by
was
the
Scott.
Bristol Rovers. And yeah.
Hello, Mr. Herbert.
Where is Senya?
Who?
Senya, Senya.
Is that a person?
Bristol Senya. That's a country.
Oh, that's in Chicago.
That's in Chicago. Okay.
Good night, all.
No, where are you? Hold on. No,
That's
Mark.
where all the burning cars go to drive. I don't know.
No, Mark, I was just going to say, I love your new style of like sitting back with your handheld microphone. I feel like you're doing a set, but you don't give a fuck about any of us. So you're like back on your couch and going,
I am absolutely exhausted. Today's workload absolutely kicked my ass.
it's all right, man. We can talk to the microphones.
I got home like literally 20 minutes before showtime, and I'm still trying to. I'm really just trying to adjust. Yeah, this comedy routine is going nowhere. Which is why I never wanted. I never wanted to go into comedy in the first place because I was always afraid that people were going to laugh at me, and I just couldn't deal with that. You know, I really,
Mark, I have just done a quick search on Bristol, and they have got a football connection, and it's with Sutton United. And
good lord,
and
is that just another football team I have to learn about?
Sutton United have great history in the FA Cup, having defeated, as you say, Tom, Leeds United, and many years before that, making their name when they beat Coventry City, who were Division 1 side at that side, i.e. top tier. However, let me just... I think they might have been at the time. It was round about that time, wasn't it?
I think that emphasised the shock because they were defending champions.
And so I'm just going to read very quickly. So it's Bristol, and it's a case study, Sutton United, when non-league football team Sutton United wanted to overhaul the changing rooms at its Gander Green Lane ground. They chose Bristol Taps and Showers to deliver a great performance while helping the club to save on its water usage. There you go. So you were on the right lines there with Bristol. Maybe not Bristol Rovers, but there is a footballing connection.
You know, I just want to know this. And I get it, you know, y'all practically invented the language. But like in America, you watch announcers and they're very just like it's the same words over and over again. In England, when I watch a match and they're all like, "Oh, he's really tipped the tub. Oh, he's really it's all or for that team, yeah, it's all 6s and 9s." You don't hear shit like that. You know, you don't hear that flowery language, and you hear like Grant Lesueur and God knows whoever he's paired with, and they're just trying to outdo each other with like, hey, I can use more Scrabble words than you.
Mark, do you think it's that we hear them? Like British people probably don't even recognize them. Like American commentators may be saying things like that we just don't know. They're like, well, the grass is always greener and blah blah blah. And like we don't even recognize that, but everybody else, the grass is greener. What the fuck?
Yeah. Fair enough. But I think I'm gonna take this moment to say that I can no longer claim that I know nothing about British football because I'm able to name announcers.
That's good. You say their names wrong, but you can.
Is it not Graham Lasser?
Graham Lasser.
Lasser.
Google his fight with David Batty during a Champions League match.
Yeah, that was good.
But don't worry about that, Mark, because like I saw an article, or not an article, but something where Martin Keown came out was saying like that's not how you say my name. But back in the day, it's Irish, so you say Keown, Martin Keown, or something, whatever, however you say it.
Something like Keown, wasn't it, or something? It's
Keown, like it's one.
I thought it was Keown.
Keown. It's like when he says it with an Irish accent, you're like, oh yeah, that sounds perfect. It sounds
I know
fine.
who you're talking about.
But he's like when I was playing and they're like Martin Keown, and he's like, that's fine. It's fucking fine. But that's like 30 years of people saying his name wrong that he's just like, it's fucking fine.
Cyril and Finger the Duck are a bit discontented because they're basically like, where's the magic 3? Where's the magic 3? Oh, here we go. It's the magic 3.
Cyril.
All 3 to win.
Hey, Cyril, show me the magic.
I would take this bet in a moment. Absolutely.
And lose $1 in a moment.
You'd actually lose it in about 90 moments.
Bristol Rovers are not winning. Bristol Rovers are not winning.
Based on what?
Based on all of my knowledge of Bristol Rovers.
Which is how much?
I'm not telling you. That's for me to know.
That's basically what happens when like I also don't want to give an answer. And then I go, I just don't want to give you an answer because I don't know the answer.
Well, Tom, then you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
I don't know what any of you guys are saying. This is just.
I'm talking.
Welcome to the second half of the show.
Nonsense on top of nonsense.
Yeah. Exactly. Reading to win, Lake Lorien to win, Bristol Rovers to win, £253 for your £1 bet. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm down on this.
You should totally do it, but just because I want to play safe, you should probably actually do them all just to go through. It'd pay a lot less, but you might actually get.
Do they go
money.
straight to penalties on these?
I believe it's extra time and penalties, isn't it? Or is it just
I don't
penalties?
know. All the different.
It's extra time, I think, and then penalties. But it's decided on the game.
There will be a winner on the day, same as Leeds or Harrogate. Two warriors that are basically the same will enter the arena. And when I say the same, I mean all the Harrogate fans are basically Leeds fans because they're only 22 kilometres apart. And it's my understanding.
I fucking wish American sports had these types of competitions. like I wish every year the NFL, you have your NFL season, but you know what? Every now and then there's a Wednesday where the Dallas Cowboys have to play fucking Alabama. They have to play a college team. And
If you're not aware, Lolo, it's called Minnesota Green Bay.
What is that?
Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers are literally the most heated rivalry in all of the NFL.
I'm not talking about a rivalry.
It tops.
Mark, I'm not talking about a
anything.
rivalry.
What more Chicago
I'm not
Bears?
talking
and
about a
cheeseheads?
rivalry. I'm talking about tournaments like this where top level teams could possibly, you could have Leeds United playing Harrogate or fucking Man City playing Bristol, Bristol Rovers.
Bristol Rovers.
Bristol
and
Rovers.
And they're not
Yeah,
even
get
the
it
Bristol
right.
Rovers.
Pure
They're
Bristol.
somebody else now. I'm
right.
going to become a Bristol fan.
It's Bristol, baby.
Because hey, why not? I became a Wolves fan because why not? I have no idea. No, I agree. Absolutely.
But
100%.
were you just about to say that Green Bay versus Minnesota Vikings is the biggest rivalry?
It's the biggest rivalry in all of sports in the United States.
In the United States, that is a
Pick one.
qualifier out of a fucking qualifier right there.
But that's what we have. That's what we
Yankees,
have
Red
here.
Sox.
Yankees, Red Sox.
I think Vikings, Packers are bigger.
Nah.
That to me, I've never even come to mind.
Well,
Are they
I
actually
would
football
say
teams?
I
Does
would
anybody know
say
Are they actually
that
football
I would
teams?
say that the schedule makers and the broadcasters would disagree with you.
I would say
Okay.
the Dallas Cowboys and any other team.
Yeah, everybody hates the Cowboys.
I know.
Unfortunately, Deborah, that's not accurate.
Everybody
Well,
hates the Cowboys.
Even the
Like,
Cowboys
they-
hate the Cowboys.
Some of us do.
I
Some of
think
us do.
I think CC Lamb really hates the
They
Cowboys.
they
right
make
now.
us hate them.
Do you want to know my favourite American football team? The Miami Gators.
All right, kick him out, John. He's got to go. That's
What are
terrible.
you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Miami
Kick
Gators,
him
they're
off.
incredible. They won the Gasparilla Bowl, didn't they?
Kick him off.
No, they didn't.
Kick him
Give
off.
me a Gasparilla Bowl right now, stat.
Shut it down, John. Take him off.
No, I would not.
I would
not
not
like
listen to Gary right now. He has his own show and he can dictate then.
What does that have to do with anything? I can still ask John to take him off. What do you mean?
Don't you?
What does that have to do with anything?
Don't
I
you
have
come on
20
our
shows. It
show
doesn't-
and fucking kick people off?
Yes, John.
You're overstretching.
Why? Get off.
Put it in the comments. Is Gary getting just too comfortable on this show?
When Gary kicks him out of his show,
You
I
had
actually
Tom
allowed
talking about
the
slapping his
band to
hands
stand.
against something earlier, and you seem to be comfortable with that.
Gary,
for all
I've
you
warned-
watching,
I've warned you
Gary
about telling
said
Director John
clapping
what to
his
do.
hands with something.
I believe it
could
was
be-
shit.
It could be macaroni and cheese.
It is.
It could
It
be
might have been
Play-Doh.
earlier.
Whatever your fancy.
It wasn't, though. It was shit.
You guys. Oh my god! Enough of the shit talk.
You literally advertised this show as Pub Talk, aka Shit Talk. I've
There
literally
you have
provided
it.
this show with the thing you advertise it as. Shit Talk.
Yeah. No, I remember. I tweeted earlier. Join us for Premier League Happy Hour. We will be talking about shit.
Yes, literally.
My bad.
Which means
My
the
bad.
final 20 minutes of the show will
Tom
be
took it literally.
My bad, guys. I will rephrase that next time.
Not the first time.
I do have to say about Gary's YouTube page. Under his friends of DWTT, we're not listed there.
You are.
Yeah.
That's right.
No,
I'm looking at it
John,
right now.
John, I paid to get us off of that list. It was not doing us any favors. The people coming over like, oh, you're friends with Gary. I'm like, I don't know you. Stay away
Gary,
from my
who?
children.
That's you know what? If that's the case, that is terrible.
It's like celebrities trying to distance themselves from P. Diddy, isn't it?
Well, you know what? You know what? When
It was after we had to share a bed with Gary, and he was like, I'm
I
not
never
doing
liked
this.
P. Diddy, even though I do have his albums. I never liked him.
but we're
Gary
on the channels
that
I've
is
been on.
terrible. That's a terrible.
Gary
of me.
took one look at me and Mark, and he said, "I'm not sharing a bed with you." And I was like, "This is a weird conversation."
although a correct thing
Am
to
I
be saying.
am I
after,
correct,
so-
Gary?
But you're not wrong.
We did,
You're not
we
wrong.
did share a couple of English breakfasts. You know,
That is terrible. Yeah, you're right. That is
Gary
terrible.
was like, I know we look the same size on Friday night happy hour, but in real life,
Yeah, it's
y'all are
not the
kinda
same.
small.
You know, they tell you. Yeah, yeah.
Gary's kind of tall. Gary looks all short. And he keeps
Oh,
his
yeah.
camera way
You
up
know what? I
here.
think I haven't touched that part of my. I haven't touched this in a very long
Wait,
time.
what?
I don't even think. But you can see I've been on. I must have come on the show once because it actually says channels I've been on, and you're number 2. So.
Oh, good. Which
So-
means
What's
you
number
dropped the
one,
deuce.
Gary?
Huh?
What's number one out of interest?
Arsenal Fan Circle. That's the first channel I was on, basically regularly. You know what I mean? Most shows. But yeah. So yeah, no, you are.
Should we listen to anything he says because he's not our friend?
What's the
I am friend.
488th one?
I feel comfortable here. I said kick Tom out. I must have felt that. I only do that on my friend
I
shows.
thought have to ban me off someone else's show.
It's like
Gary.
I took my socks off and started, picking between my toes, and you guys said, "That's all right. You're home. Feel comfortable."
No. Picking
I'm not
at
even-
your
I didn't even
toes.
take things in that
That's
direction.
not okay. No.
Once again, it may be a better channel if that's what we focus on. if we're like our channel is
could
picking
shit his
toes,
hand
we
and
may get a
clap.
good audience.
Gary's
If
talking
He
about
says
Gary
I'm
Jam.
Jesus.
Gary picks at his toes, I'm going
I
to
don't pick
be
up my toes.
more-
I'm disgusted when people.
we
no,
all
no.
we all pick at our toes.
No, we
Just
do,
don't
but
talk
it's
about
not, I'm not doing it anywhere. No, you're not going to see that ever in your
I'd
life.
argue
Just to say
this is
that.
the best episode of the On The Stoop with Lolo I've ever been on.
And then Jimmy Bremer's ghost. I think he thinks that we're just his his Siri now or his thing. He's like, please remind me. He set a timer by asking people in the comment section to set a timer. But help me, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I need to baste
what
the
is a
beef
beef
joint in the
joint?
oven. That means call me in 20 minutes. I need to rub one out.
Oh, whoa.
Not
Okay,
sure.
well,
Whoa, is that a kind of service we have here? 'Cause I didn't know this.
Sometimes I need to braise the beef joint that's in the oven. You know what I'm saying?
If this is
Guys, I'll be right back. I gotta go braise that beef joint in the oven real quick.
a true
She keeps
culinary
calling.
question. My
Only
question
Gary.
is like, dude, it's like 1:00 in the morning. Who's cooking?
He's
Yeah,
braising
Lolo's
the
right.
beef joint in the oven.
I don't know what that
He's
means.
up all
Can
night,
somebody
man.
explain?
He means a slab of beef, clearly.
Oh, well, what? Oh, we
I
know that.
know
But,
what
I
he
mean,
means. I get it. And look, his explanation is gotta join a beef slow roasting. I'm like, come on, I gotta baste it. But
Of course,
say
you got to baste it.
it's
Who
just-
doesn't baste their beef?
the
whatever
next
you
time,
want to do
the
if
next
your
time
beef is
I'm at a
it's
bar.
okay with me. Just I don't want to know about it.
You know what? Tonight, Mark, when I go to Dram Shop later, and you should come with me, and I need to run to the restroom, I'm just gonna go, hey, I'll be right back. I need to go. I need to go braise the beef joint in the oven.
Beef.
I need to go braise the
No,
beef
no
joint
oven.
in the oven.
I just need to braise the beef.
And you know what? If I say it like this, yo, I'll be right back. I just need to braise that beef joint in the oven, son. And I walk away, they'll be like, that's that shit, man. Get your shit done. Get your shit done. I'll hold your place. And I was like, we're not waiting in line for anything. What are you holding my place?
I'll remember when we used to discuss football on this channel.
I got
Well,
an 8-kilogram joint of beef on in the work.
Can we get back to Tom just clapping shit?
That's like the most normal conversation we've had on this show tonight. Oh, I think it got in his mouth.
I'm braising my beef.
That's not
All right,
good.
folks.
So you know what? You know what started this is that whole
For
Minnesota
those of you that have been
Packers
watching
thing.
our show, we have talked about David Moyes, and we've talked about Wolves, and we've talked about Arsenal's balls.
And
Did
the
you guys?
Miami
Did you
Gators.
guys think? I
We've
mean, I
talked
missed.
about Graham Potter. How about?
I missed. Can I ask something?
We will focus. Go ahead. Go
And
ahead.
I was going to
Gary.
say, in terms of Potter coming back, did anybody think West Ham was actually going to, get a serious manager bounce? I don't know if you watched at least from the first half, or did you think?
What do you consider a serious bounce?
Well, they would have won, right? Because they had a one goal lead to start the
Yeah.
second half.
You mean in the cup game? Oh, no.
Yeah.
They're doing all right. They're doing all right in the first half. Villa just played better in the second half.
Villa just became the home team in a cup.
Hold on.
I tell you what, who played well? Somerville.
He looked good out there.
Yeah.
He dominated proceedings.
But I think what West Ham lost their striker now, right? So they're going to be looking for a striker. He looked like he pulled up pretty.
Which one?
Pulled up a hamstring.
Which
Lundsberg,
striker?
I think, or Lindsberg, or
Oh, I'm sorry, but
Fulcrum, that guy, yes.
Fulkrug also.
He just came back.
Obviously, Mikel.
Antonio.
Does
it make you guys feel a little bit bad for Everton that they saw in the news West Ham fired their manager, so they said, fuck it, immediately we gotta fire Dyche and go get Moyes, and they went and got the West Ham manager, and then somebody was like, that wasn't their manager.
That's actually quite interesting.
I just feel like Everton thought they fired their manager. We got to get him.
We have two teams who are unhappy with their manager, and Lopetegui and Dyche were fired within like 36 hours. Were they both vying for Potter? And
yes,
hoping?
I believe they were.
I think so too. I think.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I think Everton firing of Dyche was so that they could get Potter, and they didn't get Potter, and I think that they were kind of like,
I believe
and they were their hand got shown, and they're like, get David Moyes on the phone, I guess, because I mean I don't have Allardyce's number. I don't know. To be honest, I mean, we all know my love for Dyche, but I don't think he deserved to be fired from Everton.
They weren't playing that bad, were they? I mean, they were playing within themselves.
The Christmas that they did, Gary. In all fairness, they played Arsenal fairly recently, right?
Yeah. And they drew Arsenal, right?
It?
Yeah.
If they didn't have that run of games, where I believe that they had good 3 games over Christmas, imagine how worse they would have been doing.
Yeah.
I think that's how
they're
Everton
shocking.
saw it.
They're shockingly bad.
Yeah, but they're not. They don't give up tons of goals. You know what I mean? Like they play within themselves, and sometimes you need better players at some point, right? And I don't think is a new manager going to make a difference, or is he going to have to play a similar style? In which case, you were playing fine with him with Dyche there. Now you're going to bring in, Moyes, and then is he going to try to switch things up, and then they get destroyed in games?
The thing is, with Everton, they cannot afford to get relegated. They get relegated, they are in shit street, absolute shit street, and that's why they brought in Moyes. And I think Moyes will do a good job there. Personally, I'd be surprised if he doesn't.
They'll go from conceding very few goals to conceding even less goals,
yeah.
and generally speaking,
and that'll be enough.
Yeah. Well, the fact of the matter is, if any of the current bottom 3 finish above Everton, Everton will probably get relegated.
Yeah, good point.
That's how tight it is,
and we're not even including Wolves in that. Would you agree with that, Tom? I think Wolves
No,
will.
no, absolutely. No,
Wolves will
to
be
be
above.
fair to myself in this, David, after Wolves lost to West Ham, I specifically said in that group chat, I believe the second they fire Gary O'Neill, they'll start winning football matches.
Yeah,
And that is what
you
happened.
did. Yeah.
I didn't necessarily sack him immediately after that, and credit to Gary O'Neill carrying on or whatever. But at the same time, I genuinely believed they had stopped performing for him, partly because he got a bit used to we ain't getting the decisions, and like it all became a bit of it like I could be wrong, but it became a bit of like, well, we ain't gonna get decisions we think we should be getting, and like everyone had a bit of like a boo-boo face about it from like everyone in the coaching staff, and that filtered onto the players, and they obviously just thought, well, we haven't got to outlast anyone here, we've just got to outlast Gary O'Neill. And that's what happened. And as soon as they brought in the new guy, I apologies, I don't know his name. Well, I do, but I don't, you know what I mean.
You know what? I don't know how well Potter, if he had gone to Everton, how well he would cope, because has he been in a relegation battle?
No.
I imagine he was in
actually
Sweden.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm talking about a top
not
flight,
in England, no. Well, only in the context of. No, you're probably right. I was going to say Swansea, but he joined Swansea just after relegation.
Yeah, but Moyes has been at clubs where they've had to fight off, make sure they don't get in the drawn into that relegation. I think he's a good shout.
And he did manage Manchester United when he had them relegated from the Champions League places. So.
You know what? Again, that's where Scum went wrong, wasn't it? They didn't give him long enough, because if you look at his record wasn't any worse. In fact, it was better than a lot of the ones that came after him.
That's true.
Right.
Anyhow, not that we care about that anyway.
Like, I kind of wonder, within this group, I've been reading a lot of talk about Moyes and Potter. Potter is like, oh, this is his redemption song. Moyes, he was forced out of West Ham. But my question is like, who runs the risk? These two are like really. I mean, they're quality coaches, in my mind. Who runs the risk of kind of sullying their reputation by kind of jumping into these teams that are really bad? I mean, obviously Potter had really good success with Brighton, not so much with Chelsea. Moyes won the European Cup before he was let go.
Frank Lampard.
Oh, geez. I think we're hearing somebody else in there. They're like, Arsene Wenger. I don't know. I have no idea.
In all seriousness, they are. I heard. I say heard. Like, you get loads. Like, there was a rumor that Leeds were going to sell the goalkeeper to Man United, and I didn't even want to give it any credence in the chat because it's nonsense. But again, there was one also where Everton were considering Wayne Rooney. And I was like, this. And the thing that upset me the most about it, it's obviously not true because it hasn't happened. But the thing that upset me most about it is the fact that it's the sort of thing that would happen to a revered England international like a Lampard or Rooney. Because Rooney should not be getting the jobs he was even getting. And I know this is a different conversation, but I think it's still worth treating that. The fact that's even been muted as even a thing shows that on some level it could happen, despite the fact that it shouldn't.
All right.
He will be their manager at some point.
Next season, I want Rooney as our manager, because that would just like complete the absurdity of the club that I support.
No, what would be best, Mark, is if Rooney came back as a player manager, because then you would actually sell some kits, and And if every now and then he went in at the end of the game like, fuck it, I'm doing it myself.
I've seen Rooney. I mean, we talk about Fat Frank, but I mean, it's obviously Fat Rooney. I mean, he's bigger. He's almost as big as I am.
Rooney in general.
Yo, yeah, but he played last
He'll be
year,
bigger than you.
Last year he played in like a charity game. And he whipped in a free kick from outside the box, like fuck. I mean, clearly outside the box, but he whipped in a free kick like it was nothing. If you want him to run around like crazy,
this is a fascinating point. You know, part of the reason managers like Rooney do foul is because I think I can't remember who said it, but when Glenn Hoddle, footballer, very good footballer, but he managed Tottenham Hotspur, because he used to play for Tottenham. But the problem is, when he played for Tottenham, when he managed Tottenham, which would have been arguably 15 years after he actually played for Tottenham, he was still better than every single Tottenham player that was currently in the team. So when he's then going through training drills and he's basically going, I want you to do X, Y, and Z, to him, it's second nature because he's able to do it. But then he would get angry at the players because he's like, why can't you do this? You're a professional footballer. A to B to C, D, flicking ball over your defender is easy. Because to him,
this happens a lot. This happens a lot.
That's why the best players the best managers that used to be players weren't fantastic players because they were over analytical. They saw the game in a way. Pep, for example, Jurgen Klopp.
Pep was a good player.
No, Pep was good, but he wasn't at the level of everybody else.
To be fair to him, Pep was Rodri of his day.
Okay, well,
to be fair,
you know, all that said,
I think you're thinking
your
manager,
your manager, Arteta,
Mourinho, Klopp, Arteta.
Wenger.
Even Arteta.
No, Arteta was a good player.
I know, but what I'm saying is he's not a player like Lampard or Rooney, who are their own sort of thing. Arteta was always a coach on the field. He was always a very intelligent game watching player who could control things in the midfield.
Yeah, he controlled. He was good.
It's
player.
like I respect Messi so much for coming out and saying, I will never become a manager. I'm never going the coaching route. Because what do you expect Messi to say? He's like, oh, and then once you get the ball, just go past those 10 people and score. And that's kind of where Lampard is of like, just go, just take the ball and go. Like just go and score. Because Lampard was that type of player where Mikel Arteta was never about doing the fancy fucking footwear. He was like, no, A to B to C, A to B to C.
I think they also those managers that weren't the top players, the struggle was a lot. They had to struggle a little bit more, which is what most of the players on the squad have to do. Not everybody can be a Messi. Not everybody can just come in like a Rooney as a teenager and do what he does. You know, that's not normal. Most players have to struggle, and the managers
have to work at it.
Yeah, and the managers that have done that themselves know the ins and outs of that part. And if you can bring up that part of your team, then it doesn't. Then you're doing really good because you're overachieving with the players that are lower on the scale, right? And you're bringing your squad up. And now when you bring in a top player, you're all that much better. So it kind of works out, right? I mean, so I think that's kind of why some of those managers come from that level of sport. They either, because we talk about it all the time, right? Some players just don't have that football brain. They might not have the talent, but they have that football brain, right? They can't do the things that Messi can do, but they can think like him, and they can do things. When their time comes and they can do those things against a player, you're in trouble. But they can't do it against everybody, right? So I think that's why. That's Arteta for me. He's not going to go out there and destroy some of the big teams, but he's thinking that way. He just the talent level is just not there, and sometimes
I guarantee you, every match that he lost at Arsenal, he was going back in and he could tell you why we lost that match. He could tell you what happened, where this broke down, where that went wrong because that's the type of thinking he is. Yeah, very very interesting.
Just saying the ball was the wrong ball. You know?
Not the wrong ball, just different. You know.
The air is different in the cup matches than it is in the Premier League. I mean, have you ever been on the field during an FA Cup match? It just smells different. It just yeah.
It feels a lot cheaper.
Smells like victory, except for it's the other team that has.
The air was thick that day, boys. The air was thick.
Earlier on, Lolo was saying about the like he likes
See with that
concept of the FA Cup relating to and he loved how you could get like the Dallas Cowboys versus the Dallas whatever boys or whatever. I've not thought that joke through, but at the same time, you have that in the NBA, right? Amongst the current teams, like you ain't gonna get obviously developmental teams playing against the LA Lakers, but they have got a mid-season cup, which functions also as league games, to my understanding.
Do they?
Oh god,
they have a tournament, right? They have
that tournament's terrible.
Yeah,
but do they let the lower leagues?
The NBA, it's not like development or anything like that.
So I think the only
it's a ratings grab.
The only league that could probably do it is the MLB.
And that you don't want this. You don't want to see that.
Do it.
You don't want to see that.
No,
sorry,
and
MLS do it.
But in Major League
yeah.
Baseball, at least you have levels. You have the pros, and then you have AAA, AA, single A.
Yeah.
The problem is all those teams are owned by major league teams.
Yeah.
So you would be
It's
like
like you're getting
Barcelona
free
A
cracks
playing
and
Barcelona
trophy.
B.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
I think
Yankees will win it in the end. Anyway,
that's why the FA Cup is so original.
Yeah, I always thought that
it starts what you're seeing. There's been loads of games before we've even got to this point. Loads of games before this round.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm talking about real non-league sides playing against each other.
This is round 3.
County sides.
Preliminary rounds. Sorry,
There's
Gary.
preliminary rounds and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, I always thought that if US wanted to do it, if they wanted to do it right, they would have started with like League One soccer and then build up from there, where you would then create as you add more teams, because they've been added. They have enough teams where they could have the levels and relegation and all of that stuff that plays into it. I know the reason why they don't is because the money's bad. You know,
say again, Gary.
Just creating a relegation structure like you have in every other football nation, right, where you can be relegated. I thought they would do that in the States, but I think it's all about the money grab, right? And that's why they don't want to do that.
It'll never be allowed to happen because they've structured the business. The league is structured in a way where every team makes a profit, regardless.
It's about that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the money. It's
about franchises and all that.
They will never agree to that because
there's no relegation.
Yeah, there's no jeopardy, and as much as I hate the concept of relegation when Leeds are hovering above it, obviously, personally, I think in a season where Leeds are, say, 17th or 20th, I think that'd be a great year to go, you know what, let's break away and do a Super League and we'll take the current top 17. Oh, that's great. Oh, wait a minute. Leeds United are in the current top 17. That's great timing. That really suits me. And basically, all my current arguments against relegation, or I want football to be for everyone. Not if it means Leeds are going to be in the Super League. It doesn't. It's for me. But I'm being facetious, obviously. But also, I think it's fair to say a lot of people would be the same, albeit slightly more seriously, if it came down to it.
Certainly these days, with the amount of we're getting into the foreign owners and all that sort of thing, and the fact that they're not really interested in the culture. It's all about making money. So that's to the detriment. I mean, that's why we don't have the replays, because they're moaning, the fixture congestion and all that was sod your fixture congestion.
But then they create more games anyway. So all right, they took the replays away from the FA Cup, but they just added it to the Champions League, right? So they just went with the bigger money, and it's like you didn't really do anything to, they keep hurting the sport little by little it hurt the sport, and eventually it's going to hurt them, in the pockets, and it would be too late.
Gary.
The sport will hurt. Right? No, I don't. They do this in every sport. Money's killing sport in general. And you're not getting what you used to. Like what you used to see back in the days, and what you see now is different, right?
Yeah, but the difference is as well. If you look at at the Bundesliga, something like that, it's not the best league in the world, but it's probably one of the most enjoyable leagues in the world because they couldn't get away with doing what the Premier League has done because a lot of the clubs are fan owned and everything. So it's just not going to happen. Ticket prices are cheaper, everything. So there's pros and cons of the Premier League, and it's a shame that a lot of what was the traditional romantic side of football in England has disappeared really now. And the FA Cup's just another example of that now, is that, the big clubs don't really treat it with any respect until they get to the quarterfinals, semi-finals. The easiest way to mend that would be to put a Champions League place for the winner, but that will never happen because then you've got the protectionism of the top sides in the Premier who wouldn't allow that to happen anyway.
The irony
and
of
the Premier
is
League wouldn't.
They'd win it.
Of course they would. One of them would.
Speaking, one of the big six.
Yeah.
Well, let's be fair. One of the big five, because Tottenham are not in this conversation. As much as financially successful they are not in this conversation, obviously, because it involves winning something.
Yeah.
But they're not in it. So basically, 5 clubs will be. Those 5 clubs win the FA Cup. When you take away the odd year where like Wigan won it or Portsmouth won it, maybe even Leicester, but even Leicester won it a couple of years after winning the Premier League, and they're going to get nowhere near it again. Partly through their own fault because of the money they wasted after winning the Premier League. Bad purchases. But
if they had the structure of a Brighton, they would have been all right, but they didn't, right? Because they kind of created that team, right? I believe they didn't go out there and spend tons of money to bring in those big players.
That's because they started paying massive money for wages for players.
Yeah.
That basically they were paying Champions League level wages for bang average players that wouldn't even be good enough for Europa League football.
And a few jump ship as well, didn't they?
Well, no, all the key ones did jump ship.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? If you don't really get much from this anyway for winning the FA Cup, like what do you get if you win the FA Cup? You don't get into the Champions League. You don't get
Europa League.
You get into the Europa.
You get a trophy.
All right. So why not have all the Premier League teams play each other, and then everybody else, and then that last 16, last 8 or something is this mad dash of smaller teams trying to beat the bigger team. Like this weekend, we've got these fucking matches of nobody versus nobody, and then there's nobody versus nobody else, and then there's Arsenal, Manchester United.
Do you know what makes the most unique competition, Lolo? In all seriousness, the reason it's the most unique competition is because there's no seeding involved in it. Manchester United are playing Arsenal in the first opportunity that they would have had to play a game.
And West Ham had to play Villa. That's a...
Which is actually good for the competition, because for the neutrals, we want to see those games and get some of the big teams knocked out early.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's knock out these big teams early. Like West Ham are out. West Ham could have beaten a bunch of these other teams, but they got knocked out to Villa.
Yeah.
There's one of Manchester United or Arsenal will not be in it come Sunday.
But Lolo, most other countries in their cups that they have, they will seed it. So you cannot get Real Madrid playing Barcelona in the third round of it. Basically,
it's seeded to a certain extent, whereby the top clubs only come in this round. They're not in earlier on,
but it's still the equivalent of you drawing names out of a hat.
Yeah,
well, it's not necessarily the case elsewhere.
Yeah.
Like basically, La Liga would have a conniption fit if they basically had to have Real Madrid playing Barcelona in January.
Again, the thing with that, with the Spanish football, because of the way it's set up, you only have to go down to Segunda Liga and below, and they'd be playing themselves.
Yeah,
they'd be playing themselves basically.
Yeah,
you know,
with all the B teams.
Yeah, B's and C teams. Yeah,
that's true. But I still think the as we said, the true unique thing of this is basically you put someone, usually a winner of the competition. So David Seaman probably puts his hand in this big machine and basically pulls out a number. And if he pulls out a number that's Arsenal's after fuck it, Peter Schmeichel pulls out Manchester United and they're playing each other, tough fucking shit. You don't put numbers back in the hat and hope Man United get Ipswich or something like that. No, you play the fucking match.
It's just upsetting every year when I'm like, oh, okay, well, Tranmere Rovers went further than Arsenal this year in the fucking FA Cup.
So what team?
Tranmere Rovers.
Okay.
No,
okay.
sorry.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. No, you're right. There's nothing wrong with that. Gary, what did you call them?
Bristol.
Gary, what did you call them on your show?
I called them Transmere.
Oh no, that's offensive.
That made them a completely different team. Do you know how many weeks
they probably have more fans?
Weeks they turned defeat into something else, or victory into defeat. They transformed victory.
They transformed their victories.
They transformed their league place to be quite low.
Well, that seems like a great point to stop the show and end the show and call it a day. We have put in the link. If you guys want to join us backstage for a minute, we'll be here for a minute.
Very funny.
But here you go. We'll go ahead and put that again. And what do we have here? Don't forget to join Gary on The Trip, Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 a.m. in the UK, and also Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern for The Road Trip. Gary, anything you want to say about your show?
Just check us out tomorrow. I guess there'll be a lot of FA Cup matches going on, so we'll be talking about that, and we'll be talking about the earlier matches that happened right before we start. So, yeah. And then we'll be talking about whatever nonsense Mr. Tom decides to bring to the table, because he always brings a lot of nonsense to the table.
I think we could dissect Arsenal's display against Brighton last week.
My
prophecy was pretty much correct.
And speaking of Mr. Tom, you can find Mr. Tom on We All Love Leeds. They will be doing a match review of Harrogate Town Sunday at 9 p.m.
It's going to be a lot of fun depending on the result. No, I'm only joking. It'll be fun either way. The
1-0 victory to Harrogate, yeah.
And don't forget the new show, Tom Talks Wrestling.
Pink cushion. Baste your beef.
That's right. We don't want to forget that.
That's for Jimmy. Jimmy needs to baste his beef. Oh, fuck. That was like 15 minutes ago, Jimmy. Sorry.
Baste your beef, mate.
Only late by 12 minutes.
Go rub your nut log.
No. I don't think.
What?
That's a whole different dish.
I know. You. Wow.
Your beef knuckle. Go slather your beef knuckle.
That's just not.
That doesn't sound good either.
No.
It didn't sound PG.
Definitely PG.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us, David, Mr. Tom, Gary, Mark, and Director John as well, and everybody in the chat. It's been a good, fun night. I hope you've all enjoyed all this nonsense. We will be back next week. Feel free to join us if you like. What else do I say? I'm running. Okay. I'm just trying to find the outro. Love you guys. We'll see you next week. I hope all of your teams lose except for Leeds United and Wolves and Arsenal. There you go. Peace.